We are back inside City Hall. Last Thursday, Mayor de Blasio celebrated his 100th day in office with an address at Cooper Union that highlighted his administration's accomplishments, but he offered only a few glimpses into the policy issues that he plans to tackle going forward. The speech also included what appears to have been some fuzzy math from the mayor on a couple of fronts, including statistics on the speed of repairs at housing authority buildings and the rate of retirement of some public school teachers. Joining me now to talk about the mayor's speech and more, we've got four top political consultants: Republicans Leticia Remauro and Rob Ryan, Democrats Barbara Morgan and Patrick Jenkins. Welcome to all of you. Good to see you.
Thanks.
And look, the mayor took a victory lap. He had some victories to brag about. We were going to do something big for the 100th day no matter what. But was this a good use of his time? I mean, you know, anytime you can get the public eye as consultants, right, that's what you'd advise your clients to do, right?
Absolutely. It's, you know, you take advantage of the opportunity to talk about where you are and where you're going. And, you know, he got to blow his horn on some of his successes. The question is, you know, he's a mayor who's doing what he said he was going to do when elected. Problem is, he wasn't elected. He was elected by a small turnout of people. Not a lot of people agree with what he's done, but he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to applaud him for being able to get it done. I mean, the question though is, should he continue to stay as left as he is? And I think that no. I think he needs to really, you know, he's got his accomplishments. Now he's got to move forward and govern the entire city and see what we need to have done.
So the basics of campaigning are that you build and hold on to your base and then you reach out. Is it also a governing principle?
Definitely a governing principle, but I also think that as a leader, you have to take advantage of your post and take advantage of the soapbox that you have and try to pull some people into your camp. So I think he's doing that. I think he's has some things to show for it. You know, paid sick leave came off without a hitch. The adjustment to it, UPK, he campaigned for that, and he got that. So I think that what he can do now, even though 100 days seems like such a mythical standard, as we look at the budget, the executive budget that comes out in a few months, we'll know where his priorities are, and then he can speak more on the metrics of his executive budget.
Rob Ryan, you're sitting there looking skeptical.
Oh, I am very skeptical. And, you know, I think you saw a guy who wasted a ton of political capital on fighting against charter schools and the carriage horses. And they are two issues. The first one is just a plain stupid move, because the one bright spot in the education system in New York City, you're trying to give a hard time to. And you're there saying you're trying to serve minorities, and yet you're going after a system that is filled with minority kids who are striving to be better. That was a total waste of political capital. Same thing with the carriage horses. Oh, it's the first thing I'm going to do when I become mayor. And now we're reading in the paper, well, it may happen at the end of the year. Well, you know, the next logical step is, why don't we get rid of the police horses? Because they shouldn't be on the streets of New York. And maybe the police dogs, too, because they're kept in cages in the back of cars and trucks all day. You know, and this is the silliness quota, okay? And he has to come back from that. He has to do some real things, and he has to stop being an ideologue and start being a city manager.
Well, I think also one thing that we have to remember is that despite the fact that, you know, as you mentioned, that only a small percentage of the, you know, of the population actually came to the polls on primary day, and then, you know, in the general, that people vote for the mayor to do the job that they have always known the mayor to do. And while I understand that he wants to redefine what mayors do, I think that a huge part of it, 80%, remains just running this city. And the vast majority of people want their services to be efficient. They want their money that they pay into the budget to be spent well. And they want to feel like, you know, I'm being represented in this government too, and that it is not just, you know, one portion of the population. And I think that that's something he needs to remember as he sets his agenda, which you didn't hear very much of during the 100-day speech. And I think that that was a lost opportunity to, you know, while I certainly think it's good to remind people this is who I am and this is where I'm coming from and this is where I'm going to be coming from as I move forward, I think that it was really important to also lay out some clear things that he was planning on doing in, say, his next 100 days or next 200 days. And that's what I think was a missed opportunity.
Right, but I do think he did talk about affordable housing and the troubles with housing that he wants to attack, and also the implementation of UPK is a big task. So, you know, he has some things that he has to get get moving. So, and he did elaborate on those.
And I think he also has to start doing something for the business community. And by business community, I mean the small business community. Because he is totally disregarding them so far. He's made a couple of minor moves, but we're seeing the city council coming through with different bills, whether it'd be the time or the
Paid sick leave?
basic leave bill and stuff like that is really going to be hitting small businesses.
Yeah,
and they're the people who pay the taxes in this town.
Absolutely. You can't govern a city. You can't do any of the things that he would like to do in the future if you move small business and middle class New Yorkers out of the city. And that's what we're going to see if he doesn't start talking to everybody. I mean, I'm all for, setting a movement politics, if you will. But even Bloomberg waited till his 10th year before he started trying to change everybody's situation and mindset.
Yes. And in fact, on small business in particular, there's lots of stuff from the last public advocate named Bill de Blasio about helping small business. So they've, I heard a whole tale of woe from my mechanic today about what he's going through.
Absolutely.
So I think these problems are real.
Yeah.
We've got more to talk about. We're going to do that after a short break, and we'll be back with these 4 top consultants. And remember, if you want to be part of the conversation, you can do that on Twitter. We are at Errol Lewis or at Inside City Hall. Stay with us.